day two of making adjustments without Keegan, just what's it been like? What are you trying out? What's working? What's not?
I mean, we're working. We see two bigs. We're working everything. I mean, trying to figure out different scenarios, and we got to put them out there in situations where there's execution, but there's also full court. Today was more of an execution day, just trying to see what works, the gravity of certain players. They're stretching the floor by three-point shooters, and they're stretching the floor vertically. So there are a lot of different looks.
We saw you talking to Dario Saric out here for a little bit. Just how surprised are you to have him in camp and sort of the player that he is after not really being able to see much of him last year?
Dario is he uses his mind when he plays, and I love that he has a knowledge of the game, understands on the defensive end, more of your team defender, being in the right spots, using his voice and talking. But his ability to make shots, I mean, that's big because it gives space to all of our guys to be able to get downhill, and then that gravity and all of that just creates three-pointers. He understands how to play next game. Once he catches it, he's looking to shoot. He's on to the dribble, handoff, pitching, like all those different things. That's high-level stuff. So it's a pleasure to be able to coach him for sure.
Figuring out that starting group, do you hope to have consistency with who's out there, or do you think it could be situational based on matchup?
Definitely. I think it's going to be, maybe matchup based and different things that we got to think. But more than anything, it's not really about who starts, it's about who finishes. So understanding that from night to night there might be matchups that are beneficial to us, and we're going to look at all of them.
I don't imagine it's like going back to square one, but does this feel a little bit like a reset when you have to kind of make an adjustment like this?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily feel that way, but I mean, it is what it is. You gotta deal with it. Keegan is a really incredible talent that we value very highly, and unfortunate what happened. So, but as it goes, we have to figure out a way to make it work, and that's what we're doing every day.
With the roster construction, do you lean into small ball at all?
It's a possibility. I think, again, to the previous question, I think that's one that we look at and say, what are the matchups tonight? And if they are in that small ball arena, or we feel like we can get away with it, we test it out. And some of that is, listen, you're going to test it out, and small ball works if small ball is working. And two bigs works if two bigs is working. So it's gonna be we're gonna have to try certain things and see what's working on a given night, and then adjust accordingly.
When you look at the first couple of preseason games, your assessment of this team, where do you feel the biggest areas for improvement are?
Well, for me, it's always going to be defense. I think we can look at the offensive end, but I think shot profile and different things can affect your defense, your transition defense. There's a smoothness to what we want to do when we talk about our offensive pillars of pace, space, and sharing the basketball. We want to move the ball up the floor, whether it's with the dribble or with the pass. And then once we get into that, we got to get into the next actions and make the game move for us. Move the ball and move bodies. And so it's not so much about like how individuals are playing or a group. It's right now we're creating an identity. An identity is who it's going to be regardless who comes in here. Now you do have to play to your talent and what you got out there, but there are certain parts of the game that we are not going to bulge on, and it has to be what it has to be.
Doug, you deal with injuries as a player, but just as a coach, one of the first times that you've got one of those calls where it's going to be a while for a player, just how difficult was that, and what was your thought process?
I threw up in my mouth a little bit. No, I just went, damn. I love Keeg, so I was sad for him. But you're right. When those calls come, it's not a good time, because you're just like, damn. Okay, now you have to start thinking of all these different things that when you woke up in the morning you were not thinking about. But unfortunate, man. But everything happens. It's already written. Everything happens how it happens.
Are these scenarios that you picture in the back of your mind as days camp goes by, like the what ifs, rather than what's in front of you, like to be able to prepare yourself for something like this?
A lot of people talk about prepared and being ready and all those things. you don't know until you get in there, like Mike Tyson, until you get hit in the nose and the mouth, you just don't know what it is. So we can be prepared as we want to be, and then when it happens, there are aspects that you didn't prepare for in the thing that you did prepare for. So we just try to be as prepared as a staff, prepare our team as well as possible. That's why fundamentals are so vitally important. If you have fundamentals and you are doing certain things at a really high level, whatever comes in your way, you're capable and able to deal with it.
Coach, Domas mentioned reaching a little bit too much while picking up 94 feet. I'm wondering, after watching the film of 2 preseason games, if there's any new points of emphasis that you're seeing in practice.
There's a part of defense that we have to make sure that we are doing. When it comes to 94 feet, we may have 2 teams within one team. It may be a little bit more of the second unit that we see when we're on free throws and dead balls and different things like that. That may be the opportunity for that group to make sure that they're doing it, so it's not where they're killing themselves, but at the same time, we're getting what we need to get. People need to feel us. We need to be physical. We need to pick up 94 feet. But every single time and being opportunistic and smart with it's no different than being smart with the pick and roll and being smart in different aspects of the game. That's one that we have to listen to our players and know what is humanly possible out there. And it's their willingness and ableness to do what we're asking them to do, and they've shown it. Now we have to make sure that we're being smart while we're doing it.
Doug, one of your former teammates, Scott Pollard, is in town this week. Just curious what you make of everything that he's had to go through and how he's sort of dealt with it.
Scott is courageous in what he's had to deal with, but didn't know he was in town. Fantastic to hear that. I know some of the things that he's experienced, and super excited and proud of him for what he's been able to do through that. Life is super, super precious, man, and send him messages, let him know that love him. But yeah, it's tough, man, when we go through as we begin to age and we begin to see our brothers in different ways, and unfortunate, and it's not only them, it's family members and different things like that. So super excited to hear that he's in town, though, for sure.
And I think in the past you've talked about the second, when you were on his team, you going up against the second unit in practice and the second unit making you guys better. Was he part of that? Is there something in his personality that helped you guys?
Between him and Bobby, Mateen Cleaves, it was a lot of them that unfortunately just, on those days when, as a starter, we're playing 40 minutes or whatever, and you might not really feel like giving it up today. And then all of a sudden the chirping starts and you lose a couple games in a row, and all of a sudden, and then it gets serious. So he was very good at that. He set really good, hard screens that I didn't always like because I was seeing him in the game, but by him doing that also helped me to realize, like, I need to be on point, and this is my time to learn how to deal with that. The same thing with Garden, Bobby, and all that came with that. Like I say, iron sharpens iron, and it does. Like, without them, we're not as good a team as we were, because not only did they help us in practice, but in the games, there was times where we didn't necessarily have it to start the game, and they came in and changed the whole complexion of the game. Your whole team is what it's about, and that's what we're trying to build here. Very similar to what we have, where you have kind of 2 teams in one. You have your starters, and they go about their business, and then you have a group that comes in off the bench that is fierce and fearless, and they know that they aren't playing the same maybe minutes, so they give it up in a way that not only that we as teammates appreciate, but our fans begin to appreciate. That's how you get the name Bench Mob and all those different things. So a lot of love to those guys, because without them we weren't who we were.
Coach, the 40th anniversary of the Kings' first game in Sacramento is coming up on October 25th. I know you spent a lot of your professional life with the Kings in one capacity or another. What does it mean to you, the team making 40 years here?
It's big time because there was a time when the Kings were thinking about leaving. So, and there was a lot of community support and fight that is very reminiscent of who we want our team to be, is who our community is. So it's big time, man. 40 years of anything is huge, and I'm just proud to be a part of the Sacramento Kings as we go on the journey of taking that next step towards where I know we can be.